Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and Black Ops 6 drops tomorrow. We're all about to hop on our planes to New Zealand, and it's gonna be crazy as everybody is jumping on the game, making videos, live streaming, posting guides, the whole 9 yards. A lot of people are very excited for the game, but some are even more excited for it because for them, the launch of Black Ops 6 will mean the death of XDefiant, which is a really weird thing to hope for. It's like they're against competition happening in the shooter industry for some reason. It's almost like those people who have so little going on in their lives that they spend time arguing Xbox versus PlayStation or Apple versus Android. Like, what's the point? If you don't like something, then that thing literally doesn't affect you at all. But XDefiant haters are some of the most vocal people I see anymore. It's almost like they talk about the game more than the people who are actually playing it every day. Well, with the launch of Black Ops 6, no doubt there is going to be a major decline in players on XDefiant. Will this mean the end of the game? Well, not necessarily, and I think this video may actually open up some minds. We have a lot to go over here today, so before we get into that, I would like to quickly point out that there is a Halloween event going on because of all the Black Ops 6 hype. I'm sure people didn't hear about it. They added a brand new 3v3 playlist, and within Ubisoft Connect, there are new challenges to unlock Halloween-themed content, and there's some new stuff in the shop. It's not the biggest event in the world, and just like with the Air and Space event, I think they should really rework how these events reward players because a lot of the time, people don't even know about the challenges. They're in Ubisoft Connect, you have to open up like 3 tabs to get there, and even when you finish them, they have names for the rewards, and they're vague, and you don't know exactly what they are without looking them up online. The rewards for doing these challenges are 2 emote packs, one themed around jack-o'-lanterns, one themed around Frankenstein, and then you have the Halloween-themed player card. Not the craziest stuff in the world, but if you like Halloween cosmetics and you have time to kill before Black Ops 6 comes out, it's a nice little thing for you to grind for, and the event will be live from now until November 6th, at which point all the stuff will go away forever, or until the next Halloween event, which ties into this video. Will there even be another Halloween event? Will the game even make it that far? Well, recently, another leak came out claiming that if player numbers do not improve, XDefiant will shut down at the end of Season 4. This leak came from somebody I personally hadn't heard of before, but the original leak came from Tom Henderson, who is somebody I trust and is somebody that we've used as a news source in the Call of Duty scene for years. I trust Tom, so I believe that he really did hear from XDefiant devs at Ubisoft, and I do believe that the developers said that the game will shut down with Season 3 or Season 4 if player numbers don't increase. But then we have the head honcho, Mark Rubin himself, and Mark went to Twitter after the latest leak came out and said this: "To be crystal clear, there are no plans to shut down after Season 4. I've literally been in meetings as of last week to discuss our Year 2 plans, but right now we are super focused on improving the technical experience, which includes netcode, and adding more content for Seasons 3 and 4. We have done very little marketing, so yes, our numbers are down, but that is just to give the team the time to get the game in a better place before we do bigger spends on marketing to bring new players to the game and to bring back players that have left." So what's going on here? Anonymous developers are reporting to Tom Henderson, who again we trust, that they may shut down, whereas Mark Rubin says publicly that that is not the case. So where is the truth? Well, without knowing directly, I think the answer is probably somewhere in the middle. I do believe that XDefiant has been struggling in the same way that it's been struggling throughout the entirety of its development, the game that's been delayed so many times over and over and then failed to meet expectations at launch. I also believe that conversations were had about the possibility of the game shutting down. I just don't know who is having those conversations. Is it the Ubisoft executives telling the team this, or is it upset game developers leaking stuff to the media? We've heard other leaks in the past about the possibility of a toxic work environment within the XDefiant team and people not getting along and them struggling to work towards one unified vision. Recently, a lot of developers were let go from the project and new ones were brought in, and they're kind of restructuring the entire XDefiant team, which is interesting because I don't see why they'd be bringing on so many new developers if they anticipate that the game is going to shut down in 2 months' time. So what I interpret from that is there is a lot of tension between certain members of the dev team on how to move the game forward. This tension may very well be the reason why updates take a while to push through. For example, right after Season 2 came out, the audio in the game just got all scuffed up for some reason. It's kind of like you're wearing, the example I give is like pillows on your ears underneath your headset, you know, like you can't really hear enemy footsteps until they're like already shooting at you. Weapon audio for other players is not as crisp as it should be. In fact, after playing a lot of XDefiant recently, I hopped on Modern Warfare 3 yesterday to kind of knock off the rust, get back into the Call of Duty swing of things as Black Ops 6 is right around the corner, and I was kind of blown away by how good the audio was in Modern Warfare 3 compared to the current state of XDefiant. The audio has been scuffed for a while in that game, and apparently it's going to be fixed on October 30th, but that's a ways away, and we've had to deal with bad audio pretty much since the launch of Season 2. The updates for this game have been pretty few and far between. When there's a bug, it usually takes a while for that bug to be fixed. Another example would be they just dropped a brand new map for Season 2, which is Air and Space. I like the map quite a bit, but if you play the Air and Space 24/7 playlist, it's still bugged in that when you jump in, if somebody backs out of the lobby, it doesn't backfill anybody into the lobby, and as such, it ends up being like a 2v2, 3v3 if you play that particular playlist. It works just fine if you play other playlists, but that one particular playlist is bugged, and it's been happening since that map came out. So they definitely need to up the frequency of their updates, for sure, and I'm wondering if it's that internal conflict that's causing stuff like this to happen. I personally don't know the ins and outs. I am a Ubisoft partner, but literally all that means is I have a creator code in the shop. It's code NerosCinema. Using it makes you handsome, and they also give me access to free bundles. That's pretty much it. They don't pay me for opinions. In fact, they don't pay me at all. It's just like having a code in Fortnite, where when people use my code in the shop, I get a little bit of scratch whenever they do that. I will say that they have been very receptive to my feedback ever since the inception of the game. Mark Rubin and Aches have both personally contacted me several times about the game, and I appreciate that, and I like to think that some of my feedback has helped make the game better, because these guys truly do care about the future of XDefiant, which is why I became a partner in the first place. Literally the only thing that being a partner prevents me from doing is stupid shit like promoting websites that provide hacks or selling accounts or stupid stuff like that. Like, there's no real downside to being a Ubisoft partner. It's pretty much all upside. But that being said, I don't know the ins and outs. I just have a code in the shop. I don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but it does seem like there's a lot of turmoil happening. But so far, they've been able to work through a lot of that, and the trains are still mostly running on time, at least according to the roadmap that they published previously. This whole situation reminds me so much of something that happened 10 years ago, ironically with different former Infinity Ward developers branching out to make their own game, because 10 years ago, over half of the original Infinity Ward staff left Activision and formed Respawn Entertainment. They went to work and they released Titanfall, which sold 10 million units in its first month, which is incredibly similar to the 8 million unique players that hopped on XDefiant during its first week. Titanfall went on to have success, but it was never as big as COD, but that really didn't matter. It was its own game, and it offered players a different experience that they could not get elsewhere. Also didn't help that it was a game that actually cost money, and it was an Xbox exclusive, which turned off a lot of players and ultimately helped lead to the downfall of the Titanfall franchise. But then I found this old Reddit thread, and it's such a parallel to what we see today. So 8 years ago, we see Titanfall 1 was actually a success. It sold 10 million units and still has players today, and the top comment reads, "There was a serious problem with the game's content. Even after making the DLC free, there just isn't enough longevity in the game to keep players playing for years like they do with Battlefield games. It sold due to hype, and while it was a good game, I imagine EA wanted another Titan of a shooter and didn't get it in terms of DLC sales or player population." The same thing, guys, is happening right now to XDefiant. Tons of people played the game at launch, and in a lot of ways, the game failed to deliver a seamless experience, and to be completely honest, the game does have a ton of issues. The game's been out for 5 months now, and right now, like I said, there are massive audio issues that apparently are being fixed on the 30th. Event challenges don't always track right. Kill trading is still pretty rampant, and there's virtually no progression in the game outside of grinding camos, which take for freaking ever. I was live streaming this earlier today, and I had a 32 kill game of TDM, which is nothing crazy, but with no double XP active, I got 2 3/4 of a weapon level for a 32 kill game of TDM, where I led the lobby, was the top player in the lobby and everything. 2 3/4 of a weapon level. That would mean I would have to replicate that exact game like 150 times just to max out a single gun, and there are 18 primaries you need to do to unlock the dark matter equivalent in this game. We've all seen the roadmap. We keep hearing about what they will be adding to the game, but I think a lot of players are tired of waiting, and now that Black Ops 6 is coming, of course there is going to be a decline in players. Every shooter game in the world over the course of the next month is going to have a decline in numbers. Freaking Call of Duty is launching, for crying out loud. This might end up being a good thing for XDefiant, however, because the game has a lot of problems, as I mentioned, and a lot of those problems are scheduled to be fixed while everybody is in the honeymoon phase of Black Ops 6. And after the dust settles and the shiny newness of Black Ops 6 wears off, if and when players get fed up with skill-based matchmaking and want to see what's going on in other games, right there will be XDefiant with, hopefully, fingers crossed, tons of new bug fixes, quality of life improvements, netcode changes, new progression paths, and new content to play around with. Despite all of its flaws, XDefiant has only been out for 5 months, and even then, I almost have an equal amount of time played in that game as what I put into Modern Warfare 3 throughout the entire year. The core experience is so enjoyable. The relaxed nature of no skill-based matchmaking, the bright and colorful maps, everything about it is fun for me. It's not Call of Duty, but it was never meant to be, and it is a game that gives me that same feeling that I used to have when I played COD before every casual online match started to feel like I was playing game battles. Mark Rubin claims that the game is going to be around for years to come, and I hope that is true, because despite the negativity coming from people who hate the game seemingly for no reason, like, I don't play this game, but I hate it so much, I have to make every other video about how much I don't like this game I don't play. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. The game still has a very dedicated community. Is it the COD killer that people thought it would be? Absolutely not, but if we're gonna keep it $1.50 here, the people that said that only said it to clickbait videos for more views. The Call of Duty community, let's be honest here, is mostly all about COD. How many COD YouTubers out there can branch away from COD and post other games? Very few. We're talking like a dozen, maybe less, of the thousands of COD creators out there. So as such, if they want to make videos of a different game, they have to in some way tie it to Call of Duty. That's why you see titles like The COD Killer, XDefiant versus COD. You can't hear XDefiant on a Call of Duty channel without it somehow being related to COD, because that's how they have to make their videos for their audience. XDefiant was never going to be the COD Killer. In 20 years, the only game that has been able to topple COD in terms of sales aren't even COD-style games. We're talking about Rockstar titles like GTA 5 and Red Dead 2. I'm pretty sure, unless another one happened recently that I didn't hear about, I'm pretty sure those are the only two games in the past like 20 years that have beaten Call of Duty for the title of best-selling game of that given year. XDefiant is a free-to-play game made by a small dev team with the backing of Ubisoft, which lots of people, let's be real, don't like Ubisoft, but I won't lie. It will be interesting to see what updates come and how things will be affected by the launch of Black Ops 6, but we can't see into the future. So as always, we are just going to have to wait for everything to unfold and everything to play out. Ladies and gentlemen, Black Ops 6 is tomorrow, so likely this will be the last XDefiant video I post for a couple of weeks, and it will be interesting to go back to the game once the dust settles with Black Ops 6, but for right now, I'm in full Call of Duty mode, man. I'm going to be grinding those camos tomorrow. I'm going to be racing to first, second, third prestige and all that. I'm going to be trying out the zombies mode, and of course, spamming your sub boxes with tons and tons of videos, so stay tuned. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video here today. Leave your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.